Hey everybody, and welcome back to my PortSwigger Web Academy series. If you haven't heard about them, PortSwigger is the creative of Burp Suite, a free security testing tool that researchers, testers, cybersecurity professionals, and companies alike use to assess their security of their web applications. PortSwigger released their Web Academy back in like 2019 or so, and now noobs and pros alike can pretty much try their hand at exploiting OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities, business logic, API problems or vulnerabilities, and much more while familiarizing themselves with PortSwigger's Burp tool. So, quick disclaimer here, this is not a paid advertisement, nor am I sponsored in any capacity. I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm just a cybersecurity professional looking to help others gain competency while just learning. Really and using the tool and getting better at their craft. So we're currently building on directory traversal in this playlist, but I have a couple of others that I'm working through. So if you ever get stuck with this Web Academy, feel free to just reference those. I give explanations and walk through the solution. So hopefully it will give you the clarity that you need. And if not, feel free to drop a comment in the box below asking questions, and I'll do my best to answer. So without further ado, let's jump to it. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the lab. So you already know what it is. We already talked about it. Let's jump into it. We're still on the directory traversal path. We're dealing with URL encoding though. So the lab says file path traversal vulnerability in the product images. They all are. The app blocks input containing the path traversal sequences. So it's going to block that. And then it performs a URL-Decode on the input before using it. So straight up, if it sees the sequence, it's going to say, nope, we ain't going to do all that. We're going to block you at the way. And then it's going to perform a decode of the input, which basically gives us our answer. So let's dive a little bit more into it in the lab material. If you're having issues with this, just know you're going to have to play around with this. But if you really did read the lab material, which the answer's in the lab, the lab material, then it was pretty much a no-brainer. So, right about here, it says some context such as URL path or the file name parameter, which we have the file name parameter, of a multi-part / form data request, which is usually, you can find that in the request. All right, so we'll see that when we'll see it in the request. So, in some context, the web server may strip any directory traversal sequences before passing your input to the application. So in the other labs, I believe it was the developer that was putting something in place. But this is telling you that some web servers, if you configure them, they will strip away the directory traversal sequences and then take what the remaining piece of it and pass it to the application. And they basically tell you here, you can sometimes bypass this kind of sanitization by URL encoding or even double URL encoding the .. characters, and it gives you the result here. And then they give you alternatives, right? That's your key. That's your literal answer. And let me show you. If you did not follow it, because let's say we jumped into the lab, right? Like I said, it's in the picture. So you do .. Y'all know how many, I don't know, remember how many dots there are, but no such file, right? Let's go back and Let's nest it like we did the last time. Nope, no such file. Okay, let's try encoding it. Let's try taking the singular Etsy password and encoding it. And there's two ways you can go about doing it. I decided to use a tool called CyberChef. I don't like using Burp Suite because it always screws me up, but you can. If you go to Decoder and you put in these little slashes here, let's say encode as URL, boom. You just take that and put Etsy password and play around. But I've never gotten it that way. It always sucks for me. So I just kind of, I don't know. I just leave it to the wind. So instead I go to CyberChef and let me exit out because I know pretty much says it. So if you go to Google CyberChef, you'll see this first one. Looks like this. I'm not going into depth what CyberChef is, but it's a tool to help you encrypt stuff, decrypt it, base 64 encode, all that. So like if you find that you're doing a CTF or something fun, you're just like, oh, I want to decrypt this or I want to decode this or blah, blah, blah. And I'm tired of scouring the internet for this shit. Just go ahead and go to CyberChef. So what you do is I search for what I'm looking for, which is URL-Decode. I drag it over here. We do have some special characters with the slashes, so I'm going to check that. And I'll throw in Etsy password. So, actually go back. Oh, I have it copied and pasted because I knew I was going to do this. So, throw in that piece, right? So what happens if we just encode it, right? And then throw it in here. Because remember, it said it sees the sequence on site. It's saying no. Throw it in there. But if but whatever's left, it's going to encode. And then it's going to encode or decode. Let's see. What did they say? Oh yeah, it decodes it. So let's see. Oh, nothing. So then they said even double encode, right? So you probably did this. You probably said, let me go ahead and double encode it. And then take this and throw it in here, right? And it should be the answer. Nope. That wasn't the answer either. And if he was real slick, he was probably like, let me use the double encode, right? I'm at the nested sequence. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna throw it in there. Still didn't work. Oh, but wait, what if I double encode it? And then I throw it in there now. This should guaranteed work. It doesn't. So what does work? Let's go back to what they said. You can sometimes bypass this kind of sanitization by URL encoding or even double URL encoding the / characters, resulting in this little part right here. So what happens if I just take this? I actually want to decode now. Pause this. Stop this. Okay. So I want to take that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to say Etsy. And I want to put another slash. See, the slash is beneath the percent sign, yeah. And here. Yeah. So what if I take that? Didn't work. So what if let me pause this. And let me make sure. So let's stop this. Okay, so this is double encoded. So at this point, you've probably given up, right? Don't. This is the part of testing that it just makes the pen tester, it makes the ethical hacker, because it's a puzzle here. So they said, going back, you can have this, or you can have various non-standard encodings that's such as ... this or ... this may also do the trick. Now, what's the difference between this and that? Well, one of them is only encoding the slashes, not the dots. Have you tried that? So let's go back in here. Stop. And matter of fact, I got the got copy and paste here, because man. Okay. So what happens if we just want to do this, right? So what does that one look like? We know %20 is space. The slash looks like it's the %2f. And if you look a little closely here, I got rid of a dot, and everything's split up by the percent signs. So this is a period, this is a period, this is a space. And let's validate that. Yep, 2F. So what if I just wanted to do %2F? So I'm going to get rid of this one and this one. And I'm going to copy and paste this. Now remember, it's %2F. So I'm going to do ... 2F. Percent sign gets rid of everything. I'm going to do ... 2F. Put the percent sign. ... 2F. And then Etsy 2F password. Okay. Now, oh, how did I forgot to do that. Okay, there we go. That's how you do it. All right, so let's say I want to double encode this, right? So I'm gonna double encode just the dots, just the slashes. I'm gonna go back. Oh, it changed. And you know what that means? That means we found something. Boom, because this was the very last one we did. And we solved it. And just to validate, we're going to X out of this. Lab solved. So what did we do? We only did the slashes. Same thing, right? Same encoding, all that. All we did was just encode the slashes, left the periods, left the etc, left the password. And then we did that again and actually went in and double encoded it. And then we took that and we threw it in the parameter and went forward. So don't be disheartened, don't be discouraged. You got to play around with it. And it's just going to get worse. Maybe not in this lab, maybe not in next 2 labs, but definitely throughout Burp Academy or PortSwigger Academy, whatever. It gets worse. Like, it's harder. And this is just directory traversal. And to me, directory traversal is one of the easiest things you can do in the Web Academy. I think it is the easiest thing you can do in Web Academy. So don't just get discouraged if you couldn't get it. Just play around with it. It's the fun of learning how to twist your mind into hacker mode. So anyway, that was an answer. I think I have one more thing for you guys. Let me check my notes. Nope, that's it. So I'll see you in the next one.